What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. You know, it has been almost 30 years since I played the mainline series of this amazing game. In fact, I recall when I first played this game, I fell in love with the series, its lore, and even the battles. So the game I play for you today is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, and I'm looking forward to this one. I've waited years to play. So this video series, I'm going to be doing the campaign, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So enough for me, let's go ahead and get into this. And for those of you who never played MechWarrior or may have some interest in the series, I'm gonna go ahead and play for you the tutorial level because, well, it does help get involved with the how the game plays, its lore, and for me, this is my first time playing this game, so I'm gonna go ahead and have that journey with you. So let's do it.
In 2108, humanity began colonizing the stars. Their reach would eventually span a vast region of space known as the Inner Sphere. During its golden age, under the governance of the Star League, the Inner Sphere experienced unprecedented peace, prosperity, and technological advancement. But with a great rise comes a great fall. Beset by greed and mistrust, humanity splintered. The Star League crumbled. Technological advancement slowed. The great houses, each vying for supremacy, turned on one another, engaging in a series of conflicts known as the Succession Wars. Amidst this chaos, mercenaries became the proxy forces for the great houses. Numerous battlefields sprung up across the Inner Sphere, dominated by hulking war machines known as battle mechs. The year is now 3015, and these steel behemoths have become the tools of the mercenaries' trade. It's a lucrative time, yet one beset with perils of all kinds. Only the most skilled and brave among them will rise to become legend.
Captain Mason, please report to the hangar for testing. The Centurion is waiting for you.
Alright guys, and here we are. And unfortunately I don't have time to admire the locker room, but this is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. And I'm being called to the hangar to get inside of a mech called the Centurion. I'm looking forward to that. But before I go over there, of course, let's go look around this room real quick. And I will say, this game came out in 2019 and it runs surprisingly smooth for a game this old, a game this age. In fact, my specs are in the description of this video. But man, it's running pretty smooth. I think I'm hitting above 60 frames a second on this in this room. But let's head to the hangar and prepare our mission. Well, damn, that's a big boy.
There you are. Come on, everyone's waiting. Get to the Centurion at the far end of the hangar and we'll get started.
Alright, here we are on this hangar, and man, I must say this is a amazing looking room. And I remember playing MechWarrior on the Super Nintendo in the early 90s, and then MechWarrior 2 on PS1 back in the late 90s. I think I was in high school at the time. But seeing this game now for myself, this game, it has a sheer enormity never seen before in a mech game. And there she is. They look like the Centurion we're going to be driving today. But yeah, in fact, I've never played a game before, a mech game before like this, where you're on the ground and you see the character this big. So let's get in the lift and head to the cockpit, because I'm looking forward to that.
All right, son. Fahad wants us to run the Centurion through its paces to see how it does. He spent months getting it operational again after we recovered it from that ruined factory on Ramen 2.
What a bloody shithole that place was. Hopefully nothing explodes during the test, mate. I'm pretty confident you won't need to eject. No promises though, eh?
He's joking, I think. Go on and power her up.
Alright, so here's the most fun part of this of exercise. Let's look at the cockpit for a minute there. And it's kind of cool looking at this, how detailed the whole panel is. In fact, there's one other game I remember playing back in the day, well, I played myself, where there's a game called Steel Battalion, and instead of a control pad, it had this big giant deck. It was kind of cool watching that game too. But anyway, let's turn the mech on. I'm playing on PC with the Xbox controller, so I'm gonna hit A to turn the mech on.
Good. Fahad?
Yeah, bringing up the systems now. Okay, armor and structure display up. Weapon systems up. Tactical display up. Everything looks good to go.
Keep in mind there's parts on that mech that are at least 200 years old, so ease it forward slowly and we'll see how it goes. And don't forget to hit the brake once you're clear of the hangar.
Alright, so let's go ahead now and move forward to that blue marker up ahead.
Look at her go, Ray. That's my girl. She's a beauty, isn't she?
Certainly is. Okay, engage reverse throttle and navigate into the waypoint I've set up. Use your tactical display to see where you're going. Nice work. Now revert to your drone cam.
Okay, so to do this, we're going to go ahead and use the D-pad to open the camera. We'll press down if we're going to press down, and then press drone.
Let's go ahead and do a left-right rotation test. Okay, now let's make sure the torso is working properly. Try looking around in all directions. Good. As you can see, the torso rotates independently from the legs. Your direction of movement, therefore, may differ from the direction you're actually looking. If you check your tack screen, you can see your current leg orientation is represented by the dotted line, and your torso orientation is represented by the cone. Looking good. The mobility course is next. Show me how fast you can get through those turns while still hitting each of the waypoints.
Alright, here we go. So it's time to run some laps around the courtyard. Now, could you imagine this being a human being in this courtyard? All you hear is rumbling upstairs, and you come outside, you see this big giant mech running laps in the courtyard. That'd be pretty frightening. You're almost there. You got one more to go.
Nice work. The Centurion was made to have a good balance between speed and firepower. All we have to do now is find out if the weapon systems work.
Oi, what do you mean if the weapons work? You know how long I've spent stripping each one of those components and putting them back together again? They'll bloody well work, mate.
You heard the man. Let's go shoot some stuff. Follow me. You know, back when I was your age, I once slammed the hunchback I was piloting right into my instructor's javelin. Oh man, was he pissed.
Commander Mason?
Yeah, go ahead, Rihanna.
Thought you'd want to know that all repairs to the Leopard have been completed. We're now spaceworthy and ready to take on our next contract. How's the kid faring?
Huh. He's a natural, just like his old man.
I see humility is still in short supply, as usual. Just don't break that mech. We need it in full working order.
Alright, and now here's the fun part. We're now the shooting range. And I'm going to enjoy this part because, well, I get to blow shit up.
Weapon systems are now online, gents. Be gentle, hey?
Always, my friend.
Yeah, right. That's a load of bollocks, innit?
All right. I've mapped the autocannon to Weapon Group 1. You're free to fire whenever you're ready.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and fire the cannon, which is mapped to the left trigger on the control pad. So let's aim the reticle, let's aim the crosshair at these living barrels over here. And fire. Well, damn. That was interesting. Alright, let's shoot something else. Okay, how about right here? Damn, that was satisfying as hell. Alright, let's aim for something far away.
Okay, take note of your ammo levels. Always remember to manage your reserves. You run out of shells in the middle of a firefight, it could be your last one. Lasers are mapped to Weapon Group 2. Fire them when ready.
Okay, before I fire the lasers, I want to fire this cannon one more time at this these two giant towers over here, because I want to see what happens. Now here we go. Ooh, holy dog shit. Now can you imagine shooting those tanks and you kill a bunch of mechs in the process? That would be in-freaking-sane. Okay, so now I'm gonna let's fire the second lasers. The second group, the lasers. Let's aim for this building over here. Okay, that was cool. Oh man, look at that building over there. Still crumbling.
Alright, that's good enough. Those lasers generate significant heat. You can see the temperature readout next to your armor and structure display. All weapons generate heat when fired. You overheat your mech during a firefight and it could trigger a shutdown, so keep that in mind. Now for the fun stuff. Long-range missiles are set to Weapon Group 3. The target lock has been disabled for the moment, but never mind that. Just go ahead and fire at will.
Alright, so cool. So we can go ahead now and fire the long-range missiles. So I think I have 10. So let's aim for the building way over there. And I'm going to use the left bumper to fire the weapons. Here we go.
Well, as you can see, LRMs don't track unless you have a target lock on something. Yep, they're as dumb as a post without it. Let's try targeting a drone first. And this time before you fire your LRMs.
Target acquired.
Okay, so we have this drone targeted. Let's fire.
Makes a hell of a difference having that target lock, doesn't it? Next step is to test moving and firing at the same time. I've set up a series of aerial targets for you. Move through the aerial combat course as quickly as you can and shoot the drones down. I'll meet up with you on the other side.
Alright, so now we're ready to continue on the training. Alright, we're going to shoot some drones. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to use set the targeting and use the autocannon. Okay, that was weird. So you probably noticed now too how I'm playing in third person, which is something I'm not used to in this game. In fact, a lot of MechWarrior purists will probably play in the cockpit view, which is great actually. It's It actually reminds me of the classic version of this game I had as a kid. You know, where MechWarrior 2 back then, you were in the cockpit and you saw everything ahead of you, which added immersion to it. If I play in this way, actually, in third person, actually, it reminds me of a game I had a kid called Armored Core on PS1 back in the day. You know, you had the you had your mech. Okay, I can't fire the LRMs now. I'm too close to the drone.
Target destroyed.
There we go. So yeah, so an Armored Core, you had a mech, and you can see him out. You can see him on the outside. And what was really cool about that back then is you had this laser blade tool. You know, you had this mad dash and use a laser blade to cut down your enemies. It was pretty cool, actually. And back there in that courtyard, we shot some buildings down. In fact, it reminded me of another game on Xbox came out back in the day called Mech Assault. That game was great as well. So I'll probably switch back to the cockpit view once I finish this training session.
Target acquired. Target destroyed.
Okay, there we go. Because the more you play this tutorial, it gets easier. And as a matter of fact, the one challenge I have so far, as I'm playing this, is trying to maintain the center of my torso and my legs. You know, because in this game, it moves like all your mechs move like a tank. So if I do this and press forward, I can literally do this. I can strafe and fire at the same time. Yeah, and I'll admit though too, during certain firefights, I'm pretty sure, you know, having my torso this way, my legs going another way, you might throw it off a little bit. All right, we're done here with the drones. That was kind of fun, shooting these weapons.
Well, nice shooting. Now take up a position by the barricade. Okay, I've projected 3 mechs, each with differing damage profiles. You should see them in the ravine below. Target the first one on your left. You can zoom in on the target for a more accurate shot if you need to. Targeting and telemetry seem to be working. Note the center torso on that first mech. It's reading heavily damaged. Destroying the CT will destroy the mech no matter its relative condition. Go ahead and destroy the center torso.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and aim here. And what's kind of cool as well is when you turn on your targeting system, it shows the name of the mech and the loadout. So in this case, this is the Locust LCT, and he has a medium laser and 2 machine guns. But now, I'm gonna kill him quickly, so I'm gonna fire the AC-10. It should be good.
Systems down. Ejecting.
Alright, not enough? One more time.
Warnings awaiting
Target
up.
destroyed.
Gonna have to bail.
See that second mech? Both legs are heavily damaged. With one leg destroyed, mechs become easy targets. Both legs? It's over for them. Take out both legs.
Alright, so now it's time to go ahead and kneecap this mech. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the targeting system. And it's another Locust. I'm gonna go ahead and use laser on the left leg. You know, and notice how there's a cooldown when I fire the lasers. Now hopefully, through this campaign, I will have more heat sinks, which will allow me to cool down faster.
Nicely done. The cockpit on that third mech is seriously damaged. It's a difficult shot to make, especially in the chaos of battle. But the fastest way to take out a mech is to eliminate the pilot. Go ahead and try shooting the cockpit.
Okay, so for the cockpit, thankfully he's standing still. But in a real battle, a shot like that will be easy. So let's go ahead now and fire the laser. Okay, and this one here is a Shadowhawk. Oh, that's a big boy. Alright, so shoot the head. Aim a little higher. Okay, it said they're inside beam range. So the auto RMs, I'm too close right now to fire them. In fact, they have a range of 900 meters, and I'm way too close. Here we go. He's tough, ain't he? Come on, you. Damn, this is... Okay, I am in for the head, clearly.
There you go. Now we're almost done. The battle simulation I've set up for you is the last hurdle. Follow me. You're gonna go head-to-head with an urban mech. They're slow and poorly armored. Perfect for this particular test. Should be a piece of cake for a pilot like you.
In fact, you know the one thing I want to say right now too in this game so far? Not only the graphics are great, but also the audio is amazing too. In fact, you can hear the servos of the mech as you walk at full speed. Okay, so right now I'm heading here to meet with an urban mech, which should be a pretty fun fight. So let's go. Just be careful here as we go through this neighborhood. Oh, okay.
Target acquired.
Come on, you. Damn, that was sick.
Centurion seems fully fit and ready for battle. Let's head back.
Man, that was so satisfying. And the fact that I walked up on an urban mech and he was trying to punch me in the face. That was satisfying. But I think for this kind of thing, seeing the third person was kind of cool. In fact, I might play like this from now on.
Back to the base. We'll buy Fahad a few beers to say thanks. Yeah, of course we'll have to listen to him gripe about how rough we are on his battle mechs. Small price to pay, I suppose, for having one of the best mechanics in the entire inner sphere.
I'm at the rendezvous point, but our contact isn't here. You see anyone, son?
The salvage crates at the last checkpoint were empty. Something's up if they're missing payments.
This is Commander Mason of Major Campbell. Make a note. Looks like someone is gonna need a lesson in paying their bills on time.
Repeat.
That's odd.
Invasion forces.
What the hell?
Commander Mason, I repeat, a massive invasion force is attacking the planet.
Acknowledged. I have a visual.
It's planet-wide, sir. We're evacuating.
We need to take what we have and go. The fastest way is across the swamp. Captain, where are you going?
It's possible they left the cash at the last checkpoint in the city. Let's get the money and run, Commander.
This is reckless. We need to get back to base.
They're distracted with the invasion. We'll be in and out before they know we're here.
Let's hope it's not us they're after. I don't like this, son. This is a ghost town.
We're close. I can smell the seatbelts.
There's nothing here.
Relax. We'll be out of here in no time.
We're being tagged. Look out! Incoming airstrike! Captain Mason, what's your status?
I'm fine, Commander. Left arm is offline is all.
That was close. Return to base now.
I am not leaving you behind.
We were set up, and you're in no shape to fight. Meet me at the extraction point with the Leopard. Go! Now, Captain!
Damn it! On the move.
Commander, an enemy dropship is approaching your position. Move, now.
I've got eyes on. Identified. Hunchback and King Crab. Damn it! Rihanna, any idea what these guys want?
I picked up some chatter about coordinates of some kind. That mean anything to you?
Coordinates? No, Rihanna. Promise me you won't leave without Jake. Promise me.
Commander, I promise. Captain Mason, what's your status?
I've got a bug on my tail.
Need you. I'm leaving you in command. You're going to do great things. I just know it.